Why do people dislike when people try to improve? I find it a weird scenario. Obviously, I think a lot of this might stem from jealousy, but not totally, because some of the other events I've witnessed would indicate that, even people who are maybe more successful than other people dislike other people trying to improve themselves. So I suppose I'll get into some examples. I was watching like the sort of video on Dark Side Phil recently, and obviously he's been on a video with Asmongold, which has been a huge win for Dark Side Phil. Increased his memberships or subscriptions, people donating more than ever to his live streams, which were struggling. And then there's naysayers in the community that don't want Dark Side Phil to improve. I think they're saying that Asmongold has bought the pig or whatever, or fallen for the pig or whatever the saying is. But I don't know, from the outside to me it looks like Dark Side Phil has actually made an improvement and is trying to make an effort to improve his content, be a better creator, and stop being irresponsible with his money, spending it on gacha games. And then, so there's, in the live stream I was watching, one of the women was just very not having it. I suppose that's not the best English, but she was very reticent to believe that this would indicate a change from Dark Side Phil, even though some of the other members in the live stream were quite optimistic and think it's a good thing. And this kind of relates back to my own life as well. Quite recently I shared a post to the local Facebook page, and there's got to be naysayers. Somebody who I used to know, and then obviously didn't like some of my political takes and just unfriended me at some point years ago. He decided he was going to react to the post, etc. Some not quite abusive comments as well, but just general rude comments from people that probably look like they haven't seen a bathtub in at least 3 weeks. Probably look like Susan Boyle and Quasimodo had a child together. And then I'm also working alongside another content creator called Mick, who's he's making his more boxing related content. He's got his fight coming up, he's got his own promotion, and whether you think that he's earned it or not, which I suppose is what some people are maybe thinking, because he's only been in the sport for a year. But if people are willing to show up on his events and box for his belts that he's made, then that is a success, really. No matter how much you try and say it's legitimate, not legitimate. Because and I find this back when I was training a lot, doing a lot of running, I would tell people that I'm an athlete, and they would seem to think that because I wasn't getting paid, i.e. a professional athlete, I wasn't an athlete. I would say to them that I am an athlete. I train, I eat, and I compete in events, even if it's just charity boxing events and 5Ks, 10Ks, and I think I've only ever done one 5K, half marathons, etc. And I've Tough Mudder, I don't know, there's some other things I've done as well, I suppose, which are events. Even if you are, with Tough Mudder, you're competing to just finish the event rather than, do it first maybe. But people would seem to think that, you haven't earned the title of athlete, but that's not the definition. The definition is that you train, eat, and compete for sports, and then you're an athlete. And the same, I suppose, with making his endeavour. It's still legitimate if people are showing up and paying, and it's moving forward. And what I'm doing with YouTube, my channel grows every time I make a video. Maybe I only get 1, 2, 3 subscribers. With each video, it grows. Each video I get better, and then like, why does the world want us all to like not sort of like be able to improve ourselves and become better? People are so reticent to want people to be able to do better. And not everybody, there are people out there that are supportive. I would say I'm one of them. Like when Tyson Fury pressed the self-destruct button, lost his belts, and then came back and everybody was poo-pooing him, I was on his side. And even though it was short-lived, when Rio Ferdinand started boxing, or he was going to anyway, and he was training, I was supportive of that. People were poo-pooing him because he's obviously a footballer. And it must be people that are blinded by their own limited potential. They think that everybody else has limited potential, instead of acknowledging that we're all multifaceted, have many talents. Being good at one thing doesn't mean you only have to do that one thing. Like at the minute, like I've got this YouTube channel, I've got another one that's anonymous that I don't mention, obviously, because what's the point? It's anonymous. Should be growing be growing content alongside Mick. Another lad wants to start a podcast. We'll talk about, I suppose, more political stuff and tinfoil, like conspiracy type stuff. I'm floating the idea with another lad I know to talk about music, because we're always messaging each other about music all the time. So why not just turn our conversations into videos? And there's all these capabilities that we all have, and people want to limit themselves. So, I'm a welder, so that's all I ever do. I'm a roofer, so that's all I do and that's all I know. But these same people want to debate football or boxing till the cows come home. So if you're like, if you're a roofer, what's your opinion on boxing then? If you're going to use that same logic. I mean, I don't use that logic. I like to use the logic that it's what's been discussed in the argument, what they're presenting, not their background. And then essentially with YouTube, that's why you have to have different channels, so that each channel can grow into its own niche. Otherwise, it's trying to serve too many different people. So that's why you have many people have many different channels. Which, I'll be looking at you, Simon Whistler, with like 15 different channels, and you don't even write your own scripts. So at least that's one thing with my endeavours. They'll all be coming straight from me, from the heart. I'll not be pretending to be somebody else. Well, I suppose, my anonymous channel is kind of a character. So other than that one, I suppose, it's, always me being genuine and upfront. So yeah, and I find this insistence that people want to mock people who are trying to do better things, don't want to limit their own potential, that they are somehow, I know, not to be trusted, I suppose. And it'll all be different when it's your time, when you've gone through a hard period and people have lost faith in you and you're turning things around, and then you'll be also wondering like, oh, why is the world like this? Because it's a bit cringe, from my perspective, because maybe it's just because I've always been downtrodden, had the rug pulled from underneath my feet. I like to see other people rise from the ashes. I find it inspiring. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to leave that one here anyway. Just a quick one. Need to get back to editing this podcast. So I'll see you in the next one.